The night Michael Jackson died, the internet almost broke. Fans cried outside hospitals. Radio stations stopped everything to play his music. News anchors looked genuinely shaken, and across the world, millions of people suddenly realized something terrifying. The king of pop was gone. But here's what makes Michael Jackson's story different from almost every celebrity story ever told. Even after death, people still can't decide who he really was. To some, he was the greatest entertainer in history. To others, he became one of the most controversial public figures modern culture has ever seen. And now, years after his death, Hollywood is bringing his story back to life once again. The upcoming Michael Jackson biopic has already created massive internet discussion, not just because of the casting, not just because of the controversy, but because people are asking the same question all over again. How do you tell the story of Michael Jackson? Because this isn't just a story about music. It's a story about fame, loneliness, obsession, controversy, and the terrifying cost of becoming larger than life, especially when the actor playing Michael, Jafar Jackson, looks almost unreal on screen. The resemblance shocked the internet immediately. The movements, the facial expressions, the voice. Even longtime fans admitted certain footage felt unsettlingly close to the real Michael. And suddenly, a new generation started revisiting the story of the King of Pop all over again. But to understand why this biopic is creating so much emotion, you first have to understand Michael Jackson himself. Long before Thriller, before the moonwalk, before the screaming stadiums, Michael Jackson was just a frightened child trying not to disappoint his father. While other children played outside, Michael rehearsed for hours. Every dance move had to be perfect. Every note had to be flawless. And according to Michael himself, mistakes often came with punishment. Years later, he admitted something heartbreaking. He said whenever he saw children playing in parks, he cried, because he knew he would never get that childhood back.
If you miss a step, expect to be,
Just let me go back. You just said that you would practice the dance steps and your father would be holding a belt in his hand. Is that what you just said?
Yes. And he would tear you up if you missed.
How often would he beat you?
Too much.
Would he only use a belt?
Why do you do this to me? No, more than a belt.
What else would he use to hit you with?
I know it hurts you, but I need to tell.
That emotional wound followed him for the rest of his life. And maybe that's the first real clue to understanding Michael Jackson. The world saw confidence, but underneath the performances was insecurity. The world saw fame, but underneath the screaming crowds was isolation. The world saw magic, but underneath the glittering jackets and legendary dance moves was a man emotionally frozen in childhood. And that contradiction is exactly why his story still fascinates millions today. By the time he joined the Jackson 5, people already knew there was something different about him. He wasn't performing like a normal child. He performed like someone desperate to prove himself.
Treat me like a criminal.
The voice,
'cause I am
the
innocent.
charisma, the intensity. Even adults were shocked watching him on stage. And once the Jackson 5 exploded into fame, there was no turning back. Michael Jackson stopped living like a normal human being before he even became a teenager. Imagine becoming globally recognized before fully understanding who you are. Imagine spending your childhood surrounded by executives, cameras, screaming fans, and pressure. That pressure slowly transformed Michael into a perfectionist. Not a normal perfectionist, an extreme perfectionist. He obsessed over details most people would never notice: dance timing, breathing, lighting, stage positioning. Everything had to feel magical. And eventually, that obsession created Thriller, an album so massive, it stopped feeling like music. It became a cultural event. Suddenly, Michael Jackson wasn't just famous, he became untouchable. Children copied his dance moves. Fans fainted at concerts. The media followed him everywhere, and the world turned him into something bigger than human. But becoming larger than life comes with a dangerous side effect. People stop seeing you as a person and start seeing you as property. Every move Michael made became global news. The media analyzed his face, his skin, his voice, his friendships. Rumors spread constantly. Some people claimed he wanted to change his race. Others mocked his appearance. Tabloids transformed his private life into entertainment. And slowly, Michael Jackson became trapped inside his own fame. That's one reason the new biopic has become so controversial online, because people are wondering what version of Michael Jackson Hollywood will show: the genius, the victim, the icon, or the controversy. And honestly, that's almost impossible to balance, because Michael Jackson's life was filled with emotional contradictions. One moment he was the most admired entertainer on earth. The next moment he became the center of global scandal. In 1993, everything changed. Michael Jackson went from untouchable superstar to the center of one of the biggest celebrity controversies in history. Suddenly, every headline felt explosive. Every news station discussed him. Every magazine wanted another story, and public opinion became completely divided. Some people defended him immediately. Others believed fame had hidden something dark.
I'm 25 and I did the moonwalk for the first time. I was backstage crying afterwards because I was
Why?
unhappy.
You cried after Motown 25?
Motown 25. But then as I was walking to the car, there was this little boy, he was like 12, he was a little Jewish kid, and he said, "You're amazing. Who taught you to ever dance like that?" And for the first time, I felt I did a good job, because I know children don't lie, and I just felt so good about it then.
You felt so good, you probably wanted to say,
Set the record straight, that if people hear a lie long enough, people believe it, that people have lied on me. I'm a black American and I'm proud of it, and I'm honored of it. The bleach skin rumor, which is a rumor, I don't bleach my skin. They once said I wanted a white kid to play me as a child, which was a rumor. Inauguration rumor, saying I didn't want to do President Clinton's inauguration. I'm not gay. This says, don't judge a person unless you have spoken to them one-on-one, which is true. Because what you hear is a lie, untrue. I can't make out this part there.
It is illegible in portions, that's true.
And Jesus said to love the children and be like children. Be youthful and be innocent and be pure and honorable. He was talking to his apostles, and they were fighting over who's the greatest among themselves. And he said, whoever humbled yourself like this child is the greatest among me. And he always surrounded himself with children. And that's how I was raised, to believe and to be like that and to imitate that.
Friends described him as emotionally childlike rather than dangerous. Others believed he spent his entire life trying to recreate the innocence he lost as a child. And honestly, that explanation almost makes the story more tragic. Because if Michael Jackson truly spent his life searching for the childhood he never had, then fame may have psychologically destroyed him far earlier than people realized. Think about it. From childhood onward, he lived inside performance, inside pressure, inside global attention. There was never a moment where Michael Jackson simply became normal, and maybe that's why he struggled so deeply with identity. One moment he controlled entire stadiums. The next moment, he admitted he hated looking in mirrors. That emotional contradiction is what made him fascinating and heartbreaking. Then came the final years. The media pressure, the lawsuits, the exhaustion, the dependency on medication. By the 2000s, Michael Jackson no longer looked like the invincible superstar from Thriller. He looked fragile, haunted, exhausted. But even then, he still chased perfection. In 2009, he announced, "This is it," a comeback so massive it instantly shocked the world. Fans believed the King of Pop was finally returning. Tickets sold out immediately. People wanted one last moment of magic, one last legendary performance, and according to people close to the rehearsals, Michael was still obsessed with perfection even at 50 years old, because deep down, he still wanted to amaze the world one more time. But the comeback never happened. On June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson died, and within minutes, the world froze. Fans collapsed, crying in public. Television channels switched to non-stop coverage. And suddenly, people stopped talking about scandal. They started talking about loss. Because whether people loved him or criticized him, everyone understood something historic had happened. A cultural giant had disappeared. And now, with Hollywood preparing to release a new Michael Jackson biopic, the conversation has returned again. A whole new generation is discovering the story. A whole new generation is debating his legacy. And maybe that's why this movie already feels bigger than a normal biopic. It feels like the reopening of one of the most emotional celebrity conversations in modern history. Because Michael Jackson wasn't just a singer, he became mythology. A legend wrapped in controversy. A genius surrounded by mystery. A human being trapped inside global obsession. And maybe the world will never fully agree on who Michael Jackson really was. But one thing is undeniable. No artist before him changed entertainment the way he did. And no artist after him has ever truly replaced him. So now I want to hear your opinion. Do you think the new Michael Jackson biopic will help people understand him better, or create even more controversy? Comment below. And if you enjoyed deep emotional celebrity documentaries like this, subscribe to Roundtable Celebrity, like this video, and turn on notifications. Because on this channel, we don't just revisit celebrities, we uncover the human stories hidden behind the fame.